Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. Behind me, 2003 Kia Sedona. We're going to be replacing the cam position sensor. Not too challenging, just a few bolts, pull off a cover, and the position sensor is right there. So, let's do it. So the cam position sensor lives under this cover. You can see the position sensor wiring coming out of the middle right here, and it comes around to this connector. So what we have to do is remove this cover, unplug this connector, and unbolt the sensor, and it comes right out. What I'm going to do first is remove this pipe here. It's a 10 mil over on this side, 10 mil over on this side, and a clamp holding it to the air box. So we don't have to unplug this connector. This bracket right here is a 10 millimeter, and that's one of the bolts we have to take off anyway for this cover. Pull this bracket off, and then we can undo this harness clip by pinching the back side and pushing it out. You can also use a flathead screwdriver to push in that tab in the back. Pinching or pushing, either way, comes right out. We can just set that aside. So now we got this bolt here. And its bracket, we'll just remember that that goes on top. There's a bolt in the middle. And that too has a bracket, we'll just have to remember. And there's one more bolt down below, easy to see, but I'm not able to get it with this, I'll have to get it with a ratcheting wrench. It's not quite enough room. There we go, get the rest of it by finger. And this one also has a bracket. Lots of brackets. Okay, let's see if that was it. That's it. Pop that out, and then the cover comes out. Easy peasy. We can also see our timing belt. So now's a good time to inspect your timing belt. If it looks like it's starting to crack or show signs of wear, then you can think about getting that replaced. Okay, so now we're gonna disconnect our sensor up here. The pinch is on the bottom. This little gray connector is what comes off this side. And then this one, you'll see a dot or a drill hole in the top of this metal bracket. You wanna take a pick. Let me grab one real quick. Just an angled pick, a straight pick, doesn't matter. Just something pokey that you can poke right in there. And that'll depress that retainer and it'll slide right off like that. We can do this right down there. Perfect. So now it's completely free and we'll unbolt it from down below. Let me swing you around and you can get a better look. Sorry about the crappy lighting, but right there is the sensor right under the frontmost cam gear. It's just a 10 millimeter bolt holding it on. And then you can see it right there. The harness has one connector connecting it into the head there. Easy to pull off with a screwdriver or pair of pliers. You might be able to just pull on that connector since we're replacing it anyway. All right, got the bolt. Of course, my hand's gonna be in your way for a lot of it, but just go into there, get the bolt out. There's another bolt right underneath. You can feel it. There, you can get to it. There we go. You just have to feel it. You can't really see it. Okay, I got the second bolt out. Once you have both bolts out, it should just come right out like that. There's the sensor. Let me pop that little harness thing off over on this side. All right, got it. Let me just pull it through. There. Right there is the little harness connector. That goes into the head, you just pop out. We'll route our new sensor in. The connector goes behind the timing belt, so that's important. Okay, let me re-angle you. Now we'll put this on. So doing the top bolt is obviously gonna be easier to get that first. I know my hands are totally gonna be in your way. Have a magnet on hand if you drop any bolts. Keep dropping you guys. Must not be in a good spot. Okay, got the top one started. There you go, get a few threads on there. Sweet. Okay, got the top one on. Let's try to get this bottom one on. That would be the trick, huh? Well, that wasn't bad. Now, as far as tightness, just snug where it's going into an aluminum head. This top one, there we go. Okay, so that's it. Let me back you out. So far, pretty easy, right? Get my flashlight out of there. So now we want to take this, route it around the way it came out, put it on its little bracket here, upside down, there we go. Lock it in, put our harness thing down here. If we forget to put this little harness retainer on, what can happen is the wires will just be loose in here and can snag on the belt and rip your sensor wires. There we go. So we don't want that. All right, now we can put our cover back on, and it has a notch in the cover. That notch is for our harness. Okay, like that. Make sure our harness goes in the notch. Perfect, just like that. And this shield, or this plastic cover, goes under the other one. So just maneuver it under. There we go, just like that. Put this bolt on here, goes on the top. Remember, if your little metal ring piece came out, go ahead and just slide that back in. All right, perfect there. Now this top one had that bracket on it, so make sure that goes back on. This side one had this bracket on. Nice. And then that bottom one also had a bracket. Perfect. We'll tighten all these up. You don't have to be crazy, just snug is good. This harness can be connected right there again. We'll plug this in until it snaps. Perfect. Just double check, we got all the bolts, got our connector routed. All right, we're finished. Let's go inside, we'll clear the code, start it up, just to make sure that check engine light is out. All right, just got a cheap scanner, doesn't take nothing fancy to clear codes. All right, one code, that's the P0340, so we'll go ahead and erase that. Yes, erase, there we go. All right, done, we'll go ahead and read again. 0 codes. I'll turn the key off, wait about 10 seconds. Turn the key on, go ahead and start it up. There we go, no check engine light. Now it may take a little bit for a check engine light to come on. Usually if there's a code or an issue with the cam position sensor, it's gonna throw a fault pretty soon. So take it for a good spin just to make sure that that code is out and we're good to go. All right, there you go. That's how you can replace a cam position sensor on a Kia Sedona. Not too challenging, just pulling off that cover. Getting to the bolts for the position sensor itself can be a little tricky. Not tricky, but just limited space, and especially that bottom bolt. But if you use a 1/4-inch socket, I was using a deep socket, but I suppose you don't have to use a deep socket, but a deep socket with a little tiny extension fit perfect. Getting it back on wasn't too hard. Putting the top bolt back on first is better than trying to put that bottom bolt back on. Other than that, pretty simple. Somewhere around here, I will have the part number, the OEM part number. Hyundai makes the part number for this Kia, which makes sense, they're sister companies. But that's what I recommend, going OEM. There are a lot of enticing aftermarket sensors with an enticing price tag, but I recommend going OEM for this type of electrical sensor. All right, well, if you found this video helpful and you'd like to support the channel, please consider buying me a coffee in the link down below. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you on the next one.